Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's indeed an honor to be with you today at this critical stage of final negotiations for Build Back Better. And I do want to thank you for your leadership. We're working together, and we are literally on the verge of a historic investment in our nation's clean energy infrastructure. The federal government has invested in infrastructure before, but never with the focus and emphasis on sustainability, and certainly not at this funding level than what we're on the verge on today. For families in California, we know that the climate crisis is already a daily reality. Not a concern of what we may experience 10, 20, 30 years from now, but what Californians are experiencing today. Now, the state of California has been a leader on climate, but we're in a position, we have a golden opportunity to make sure that the rest of the nation and the rest of the world indeed follows California's lead. A couple of examples. Just this year, thousands of Californians have been forced to flee their homes with only the clothes on their back or the belongings they can fit in their car as they were fleeing, yet again, record wildfires. We've had a summer where farmers have torn out crops due to the escalating drought conditions in many parts of the state. So while California is certainly Exhibit A on climate, the entire western United States is on fire and facing another record drought. Fossil fuel emissions have pushed our planet to a crisis point. And yet, despite the evidence, too many of our Republican colleagues refuse to acknowledge the science. They're denying the need for an emergency response now and a real plan of action. But the good news is we have Democratic majorities, both in the House and the Senate, and we know what it is that needs to happen. If we race to zero out carbon emissions, we can slow the pace of climate change and even bring down temperatures by the middle of this century. But our path to avert a climate catastrophe is narrowing each and every day. So let me be clear. Climate cannot be on the chopping block in this or any budget. We cannot afford to leave these problems to be dealt with another day. We need to act boldly and tackle this crisis head on. Across the country, across industries, and truly around the world, we need to end our dependence on fossil fuels. We need to fully fund the transformational infrastructure that will allow us to not just come out of the transition, but to come out better than before. And we must provide justice to communities who are suffering the worst impacts of climate change, and do so in a way that creates millions of good paying union jobs in the process. The Build Back Better agenda, building back more inclusively, building back more sustainably, will be our nation's largest ever investment in a sustainable future. And as California knows all too well, it can't come soon enough. So thank you again, Speaker Pelosi, for prioritizing climate action and for bringing us together and putting us on the verge of doing what California and the nation needs. Thank you very much.